Hi there, I'm Selma Jacinto Domingos, your host. I'm an author, a speaker, a leadership educator, and a life changer coach. Welcome to Selma Success TV to empower you to change your life for the better. Today, we will talk about how to live your best life now and love what you do. Our special guest today is Linda Robert. Linda is a life coach and enjoy helping professionals over 40 to live their best lives now so they love what they do. Linda also specializes in life transition, divorce recovery, stress management, and wellness. Linda also helps you make your traveling dreams a reality. Linda, please, would you like to tell more about what you do? It's just amazing reading all the things that you do. And I bet we will really helping a lot of people just to figure out how to do the things they love.
Right. So there's a lot that I do, and I think it's important for me to just share a little bit of my background because by doing this, people understand why I do what I what I do.
Yeah.
And I'll keep it brief. I'll keep it brief. You know, my parents divorced when I was a young girl, and I
Oh,
lived with my grandmother. My grandmother and grandfather were poor, and so I grew up in that type of environment where we didn't think abundant. We
yes.
thought of how to stretch that dollar, how to make food last. And of course, that belief, that way of thinking, followed me until very recently. I
Mhm.
also had some very difficult situations that happened to me when I was younger. For example, I was abused, and
Oh, I'm
that also
sorry.
changed my life.
I'm very
So
sorry.
there's a lot of things that happened in my life that created and that made me the person that I am today. So why do I do what I do and how do I do it? Well, I do it because I really do want to help people
Yes.
live their best lives now. And even though we've been hurt in the past, even though we've had situations in the past that weren't good, we learn from those experiences.
Yes.
You know, we learn from those experiences and we take the learning from them and we move on. Well, that's the idea, right?
Yes.
That's that's the idea. It's not always possible, but I think with counseling in some cases and with coaching, of course, people can actually um, talk about what they've learned
Mhm.
and share how they can now move on with that experience to make their lives better,
Yes,
to
because
make their lives better.
yeah, that can
You
be
know, so
very. Mhm. I'm sorry. No,
no,
go ahead,
please.
please. I would say it can be very hard, like for someone that had, the experience that you have also you had in your past, and for special for women that they may feel, they may living so many challenge in their life, obstacle, and just then, they have this experience in trying to live their best life. How can you really make this transition from all the obstacle that you have in your life and challenge and just decide how this happen?
Yes, I want to be honest with you. I think having counseling or coaching helps.
Mhm.
It truly does. I remember, and this is just a short story, years and years and years ago, I refused counseling. Or actually, let me rephrase that. My ex-husband wanted me to go through counseling with him. And I said, okay, sure, I'll do it. But I didn't want it. I didn't think I needed it. I went to one session and that was it. I thought I knew better than him. Okay.
Mhm.
And that's the truth. However, however, I shared a little bit of the abuse. There was a point in my life, this was maybe 10 years ago, where I'm sitting with my dad asking him where he was when the thing
That's
that happened to me happened. And I noticed that I was getting mad. I was getting upset.
oh,
my parents were divorced and my dad wasn't around a lot. My mom had dementia by then. I couldn't really talk with her. But I remember getting upset with my dad. I knew because I had been already doing a bit of work on me that that anger didn't belong to him, really. It was something I needed to look at. And so I did go for some counseling first. Now, I think this is one important thing is that if you know that something's happening inside you, your body is telling you, your mind is telling you, I'm mad, I'm angry. And without counseling or coaching, it's, you know, when they're ready for coaching, they will remain in that anger. You know, I knew when I was angry with my dad that he was, you know, I mean, he was older and he couldn't have done anything at that time because he didn't know. My anger was towards him because I was upset with where I was at with my life. I needed to get help for me. It wasn't about my dad, right? So people really need to tune into, you know, what's happening inside them. What are the thoughts that are happening?
Yeah.
And I think with counseling, in some cases, that definitely helps. You know, because with coaching, it's more about moving forward. It's not so much about looking in the past. But that's a very important piece, is that when you've noticed that you're not where you want to be, you're still kind of stuck, but you don't really know why. You have to help yourself by getting help.
Wow. Linda, thank you so much for sharing this. You know, I'm so grateful that you are sharing your life experience that was so traumatic, you know, and sometimes it's kind of like difficult for people with, you know, with the experience that you had and also with other different experience, just really recognize that they need the help, or even just think that, should I ask for help for me to live my better life now or to change my life? There is this kind of thoughts and just self-doubt that if they should, and sometimes they have afraid that maybe they will be judged by other people, you know, what they will do. How did you overcome like this? I don't know if you had this kind of thoughts, and how did you overcome those thoughts?
Yes, well, I'll share a bit of my background. I worked in psychiatry for many years. And for 14 years, actually, I worked in the mental health system. And there was a point, and I guess it's because, you know, I've gone through different stages in my life, and there was a point where back in the 2000, a long time ago, where I went through a burnout. Okay, I went through a burnout. I was working in psychiatry at the time, and my mom was living with me at the time. And let's just put it this way, that I had habits at that time that weren't good for me. They weren't good. So I needed to go through some help. I had to, because of the burnout I was going through. I needed to talk to my doctor to get help, and my doctor referred me to a psychiatrist. At that time, I remember sitting in the doctor's office, seeing my clients.
Wow.
Because I worked in psychiatry, and the only hospital that was available was the hospital I was working in. And I'm telling you, it was very, very difficult. But I had to make the difference between me, the professional, and me, the individual, the woman who needed help. And it, you know, it wasn't easy at all, but I had to do that. I had to do that to be able to start feeling better, honestly. And I had to take medication at that time too. So there's a point in our life, and I kind of refer back to my story. There was a point in my life where I knew if I would have kept going in that way, I would have continued to abuse drugs, which was not good.
Yes.
I would have not have gotten help, and I would not be who I am today. So, and this is where, yeah, it can be embarrassing. I say that that's why coaching or talk to a really good friend is important. You know, with coaching, and I know you know this, things are confidential. We're
Yes.
really here to support, to to guide you along a difficult moment. And friends, we don't always have good friends that can be supportive like that.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that's the reality,
Unfortunately.
right?
Mhm.
So we have to trust someone. And you know, I've tried it by myself years ago, and it only got me so far. I
And like,
needed to, I needed to say, okay, I need help from somebody who knows a little bit more than what I do.
I think it's very brave just to recognize that you need help and needs to be someone that really knows more and will understand you from the inside out instead of just seeing the person. Because sometimes it's like, you know, people see you, they assume, oh, she's okay, she's doing great, but they really don't know what is happening inside of you as a person. Yeah, and you explained that you were able to recognize, and separate between you as an individual, as a person, and as a professional. And sometimes it's just special for us, as a women, we are mothers, sisters, and we have so many different roles, and sometimes it's just kind of a hard to separate all this role and say, hey, I need the time for myself. I joke with my children sometimes and I tell them, mama is not a robot. You need to help me resolve this, so you need to think and trying to do something, because I want them to understand, even if I'm a mom, their mom that have kind of like almost all the answers, I'm still a person that need a break and needs, just to take some time for myself and to think
Yeah.
and kind of like, kind of just really working on myself. And Linda, I know also, there is a lot of people that they live in a very struggling environment, and find the right friend or the right person to open up and just say, hey, I really need help, but they
Mhm.
cannot find this person. Is there like any way that they can um trying to get the help even if they don't have the environment that supports them in a positive way?
Right. And there's a couple of things I want to mention here that I know that some people do live in environments where, whether it's their own mindset or the reality of not living in a city
Yes.
or a town where there's help. And I don't know these 1-800 numbers, but in most provinces, most states, they do have these 1-800 numbers where they can call for help. So that's
Mm,
one thing, right? And I don't
mm,
have any handy. But the other thing that I can also suggest is journaling. You know,
very
journal,
interesting.
and this is something that I've used journaling in the past
Yeah.
a lot. And of course, there's different types of journaling, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about a journal where you're just getting things out
Out. Mhm.
without censoring anything, without censoring anything. And I remember doing that type of journal where reading back years later, I'm going, wow, was I ever in a different place?
Yeah.
And of course, so the journaling piece helps. And there are different types of journaling. For example, they can work on a gratitude journal too. I think that, being grateful for something and writing it down, and sometimes when you're in a bad place, reviewing that gratitude
Yes.
journal, that helps the
Mhm.
mind to shift your energy as well. But to keep looking, to keep talking to trusted friends, because the thing is that along the way, there are going to be friends that found help, that sought help. They may not, of course, readily say, I had to get counseling, or they may not say it.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that when somebody opens up about something and is honest about something, it's more apt that the other person will probably say,
Open
you
up.
know, me too, me too. And that'll open up a whole conversation about getting help or even getting support at that time when that conversation's open. Because you're right, it's still a taboo in some cases.
Yeah.
So I think by, and I do think I was going to say that
Mhm.
approaching that is not always easy. So it's to try to find the right way to approach your friend,
Approach. Yes.
because it might be a challenging topic, to bring up. But if
And some,
you're with it,
no, I'm saying sometimes people, they are not in the same mindset, like in the right moment. It's like you're trying to tell something and the person is in different thoughts or just different experience.
right, that's true. So it's try to find, and it's interesting because sometimes there are these groups in our community that we may not even be aware of.
Mhm.
Why? Because one, we're not looking for them,
Yes.
right? When we start opening ourselves up and start thinking, oh, I need somebody to talk to, then it means that when we start looking, we're more apt to find something. And that might not be the perfect thing, but that could lead us to
Do something.
something else.
Yes.
So I think it starts with a willingness to look at alternatives, willingness to talk about it, willingness. That willingness piece is important.
Yeah.
And that willingness to look for a resource. Sometimes, and this is gonna sound silly, but I
Yeah.
have talked to my hairdressers in the past, and
Wow.
you never know what hair, it's true, right?
Yes, yes, because you are relaxing, yeah, and the conversation can be so natural too.
I'm just saying that as an example because I do remember having these types of natural conversations with my hairdressers. And next thing you know, she or he starts saying, well, blah, blah, blah. And, so,
Yeah.
and it could be that simple. It could be that simple. Or when you're sitting at a doctor's office, or when you're at the pharmacy, and sometimes you hear conversations and it might go, interesting. And take advantage of that moment, that opportunity to talk to that person who was having that conversation, because you never know. You really don't know. But if you keep it to yourself all the time and you don't, you're not willing to explore, then things aren't going to change and you won't find those resources, right?
Yeah, and you don't find the answer that you are looking for. Can
Right.
we say that like one of the first things that you have to do to live the best life that you want to is first to recognize that you need help. You cannot do everything by yourself, and then be willing to open and to look for the answer and just, trying to get some help from other people.
Yes, I would say those are important, but also
Mhm.
to, I practice a lot of mindfulness meditation. Over the
Mm.
last few years, I've been practicing that a lot. So I'm going to mention that here
Yes.
because at some point, I think it's also important to quieten our mind.
Mm.
Because when we tune into what's really happening, I don't feel things necessarily in my body. Now, some people feel things
Mhm.
in their body. They'll feel
Yeah.
pain, for example,
Mhm.
or they'll feel emotions in their body. I don't necessarily feel that. I notice it in my mind. I notice it that, when I'm preoccupied or when I'm feeling overwhelmed, it's here that I feel it, not so much in my body. So
Yeah.
it's tuning in, taking some time to be really quiet and just noticing what's happening. And it could
Mhm.
be noticing your thoughts without judging them,
Yes.
right? Noticing the sensations that you might be feeling in your body and being curious about them.
Mm.
Because most of the time we walk around not even knowing what's really going on
Yeah.
inside of us, right?
Yes.
So there's that willingness to be curious about what's really going on. And sometimes we'll hear those little voices, the good voices I'm talking about, not
Yes,
those inner,
not the
not those,
negative one. Yeah.
not those ones too, because they will come up too, of course. But sometimes we'll hear those little voices that say, get help, or something,
Yeah.
or, you need help, something.
Ask, ask, ask.
Right. That's right. They'll come up, but if your mind's been cluttered with all sorts of other things, you won't hear it. So it's true. You got to quieten it up. You have to quieten it up because you'll hear it. You really will hear it.
Yes, I agree 100%. And Linda, I'm also very amazing, from your life because you had all this, yeah, like very heavy and negative experience in your life. And now you help other people to find joy and also to find their traveling dreams. I know you travel a lot, and one of your best experiences was traveling solo. So I'm very curious, how did you manage to, from the life experience that you had and now to become this person, that loves to travel by yourself and loves to other find their traveling dreams. Tell me more.
Right. Well, I have to tell you that I'll just give a little bit of a background. I was a single parent, right, for many years.
Mhm.
And at that time in my 20s and 30s and 40s, I didn't think about doing that at all. Zero,
Really?
zero, zero, zero.
Wow.
It started more in my mid 50s, so a while ago, but not that long ago.
Yeah.
And and I do remember getting to a point where, because at one point um, I was really hoping to meet somebody that I could travel with.
Oh, that's
Like
nice.
a male partner, if you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah.
But I could never find the right one, and I kept saying to myself, why do I want to stop myself from? Why do I keep waiting and waiting and waiting to
Yes.
travel with somebody when I keep waiting and waiting, and I want to travel. And when it came to the Del Norte, well, the story's a little bit different because I do remember this was just a couple of years ago. My
Mhm.
friends would tell me, "Oh, I'll go with you, but I can't go this year." And I'm
Oh
thinking,
no.
"Okay, I'll wait till next year."
Yeah.
Well, what happens is you
Yes.
wait for the next year, and this is a true story. And I waited, and I thought, you know what, I want to do this. So the story when it comes to the Del Norte. This was September 22, because I walked the Del Norte in 23. September
Mhm.
22, I'm looking for a cruise. And I found the perfect cruise. I did
Wow.
find it. It was a perfect itinerary, and it was leaving from Bilbao, Spain.
Really? Oh my goodness.
And then
That's amazing.
I noticed that Bilbao is part of the Del Norte. The Del
Mhm.
Norte is the northern coast of Spain. You walk it. Typically, it
Wow.
starts in Iran in Spain, but you go through your Bilbao to get to Santiago de Compostela.
Wow.
So after I booked my cruise, I noticed that, oh my God, Bilbao is part of the Del Norte.
Oh no. Yeah.
So I saw that as being a sign. I did see this as being a sign. And I thought, I got to walk the Del Norte. I'm going to be there.
Yes.
All I do is kind of coordinate it where when I come back from the cruise, and that's what I did. When I came back from the cruise, the next day is when I
Mhm.
started walking. So I wouldn't have been able to do that in my 20s and 30s for different reasons. Not only
Exactly.
was I not confident enough and I didn't have the esteem, but I was also a single parent. My life was,
Parents. Yeah.
it was very different.
Yeah.
But because I also didn't believe that I could do it. I didn't
Mhm.
believe that I could do it. And that's true. I didn't have the confidence or the
Okay.
esteem
Yes.
to even think. My beliefs were, you can't do that,
By
you know.
yourself, especially.
You
Yeah.
can't, it's dangerous. Well, I found out because I walked it for 30 days, I didn't feel in
Wow.
danger at all, except when I was on top of this really high mountain,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I felt unsafe, but because I was afraid, I'm afraid of heights.
Me too.
So it's not that I felt unsafe because of people,
Yeah.
making me, it wasn't that, but what was really interesting on that particular day, there were people from France, and I do speak French. I was speaking French with them, and they noticed that I was breathing a little heavy because I
Yes.
was afraid.
Yes. Yeah.
They asked me, "Are you okay?" And I said, yeah, I'm just a little bit afraid. And then they suggested that I walk with them, that I continue walking
Oh,
behind them. And I said,
that's very sweet.
thank you. So I think that when we open ourselves up to the possibilities that there are going to be people there, I call them angels, especially on that walk. There are going to be people there to
Yeah.
support us, even though we don't expect that.
Mhm.
There really will be. And on that particular day, there were people there to help me.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, that's so amazing. Because you never know if you have like, this positive and open mind and just this like positive feeling that you can really do the things that you want and live the life that you have, and you can just experience great things in your life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, it's not to say though that the fear won't come up, right? Because
Mhm.
fear does come up. And I will give you another example. When I was walking on that Del Norte, there was a point that I knew I had to cross a really high bridge, and it
Wow.
was very high, and I am afraid of heights. And I was really afraid. I was really, really afraid. So I did what I could. I held on to the side because there was a like a little fencing that we could hold on to,
Hmm. Hmm.
so that I could avoid looking below. And
I avoid always.
because I had to get to the other side, I really did to be able to get to the
Oh
hotel.
my
And I
goodness.
remember telling myself, it's okay, Linda, just take it one step at a time. Just keep walking, just keep going. And so fear will come up, Selma. Fear will come up, right? No matter what the circumstances are. But it's to recognize I'm afraid and I still want to get to that other side of the bridge,
Yeah.
figuratively and literally. So I better, and sometimes it does help to, have counseling for certain issues, of course, and coaching,
Yeah.
but also to know that that moment of fear won't last forever,
Forever. Yes.
right? That I walked that bridge, it probably took me maybe 6, 7 minutes. I don't know. I can't remember how long
Hmm.
it took. But after that, I was able to go,
Oh my
oh.
God. I did.
So that fear doesn't last forever because I was walking through, I was going with that fear, and I was
Yes.
continuing,
Yes.
uh, and having that fear inside me. I was continuing. And that could be with anything that we go through,
In the
because we
life.
will get through to the other side at one point.
Yeah. And sometimes when where you are looking for is on the other side, not sometimes, all the time.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right. And and I know I've talked about the counseling and the coaching, but it's true. And I know you know this, that
Yeah.
with that support, we
Yes.
can start changing our beliefs, of course, and we can start working through some of those fears that we have to help us to get to that other side
Hmm.
and start believing that, yeah, I can have the awesome life that I want, that I
I want it.
deserve. Right?
Yes.
Little steps, because we don't go from one thing to the next just like that. It's a
Yeah.
process. Sometimes it takes, depending on what the situation is, it can take weeks,
Mhm.
sometimes months, sometimes years to fully believe, because we do have a lot of different types of beliefs that prevent us from
Yes.
doing things. So it's a long-term process in some ways. I'm 66, so it took me a little while to finally get to that other
You
side of
doesn't look
the.
66. You look very young.
And I'd say that I don't believe in in mentioning our age, but I mention that because um, when I was in my 20s and 30s and 40s, I was a different person, and
Hmm.
the evolving, the transformation, I
Mhm.
should say, took a long time. But still, I didn't give up, right? We don't give up with what we truly want. If we want to live the best life now, we can't give up. We truly have to believe that it's possible
It's possible.
now. And it starts with little steps, right? We were talking about the tuning in and the willingness.
Mhm. Wow, thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm so grateful that you come and just share this experience. And I truly believe that, you really have to give yourself this moment, and just, allow yourself, give yourself permission to ask for help, to asking questions, and to be willing to open up, and be willing to not just wait. You mentioned, you stopped wait because other people have different agenda, different schedule, and you put yourself out there, and you have this amazing experience. Also, you were able to really confront your fear that you said it was like 7 minutes, but when you have a fear, 7 minutes, it's like forever.
It was awful, okay? It was awful. I even did a video right after the walk, right after that crossing the bridge. It's on my YouTube channel. But anyways, it was awful.
But you did great. You did great, Linda. That's the most important thing. Yeah, you step up and say, "Hey, I can do it." Okay. Thank you so much, Linda. And for you on was watching this video, I'm really very helpful, and I truly believe that you can do so much more in your life, and you can find, you know, love in your life, and you can live your best life if you are willing to give yourself permission to live your best life, if you're willing to, to open up to the world and possibility, and just be this wonderful person that you are dreaming, from so very long. We all have challenge. You may have some challenge now, but I truly believe that you can do it. You can do it. Linda, yes, thank you so much, Linda. I'm so grateful that you are here and you share this beautiful experience of your life, and you are living, your best life. And I do believe that someone will want to connect with you. And thank you so much for you that took the time to invest in yourself, stay connected with us here, subscribe and share. And for more information, go to my website, selmajacintodomingos.com, and to connect with our guest, Linda, and to learn more about her and the amazing things that she does in our life, and that could help you also in your life. You will find Linda's information below here on my channel, so you can connect with Linda. So thank you so much. I appreciate you for being here. I will see you next time. See you soon, and take care. Linda, again, thank you so much, Linda. Thank you. I'm so grateful for your presence here.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much. And thanks for inviting me. I really
You're
appreciate
welcome. My pleasure. Bye-bye, Linda.